Hello everyone. Today we're comparing tense with aspect. In English, we have tenses on verbs, so we have an idea if something has happened, completed in the past, or is extending into the present time, or has started in the past, extended into the present time, and likely will continue in the future time. This, so you can see here we have in this example call. He called me. He calls me. He was calling me. He has called me. He had called me. He is calling me. He has been calling me. He had been calling me. If we go to translate all of this into Cebuano, they don't have tenses, they have aspect. All those which I just mentioned are either in the present or in the past. The conjugation for that, for present or past, for the verb call, the root word is tawag. So, depending on the focus of who's calling who, the conjugation of tawag can be gitawagan or nanawag. Like, for instance, he called me. So now I'm the focus. He called me. That's the gitawagan ko. And then he is in ergative case. Whatever's not the focus, it will be an ergative case. And whatever is in focus, for example, he called me, me in the absolutive case is ko. Okay, so now we have nanawag. So that would mean the person who's doing the calling is the focus of the sentence. He was calling me. Nanawag siya. He was calling me. Nanawag siya. Nako. So here we don't know if it's action started, continuing into the present time, and possibly continuing into the future time. So something like this, we will need conversational flow, asking questions, looking for clues for times, time of day, or time clues, something that happened in the past or something presently happening. So here we have some examples of using what I just mentioned about calls, was calling into some kind of um, conversational flow. He called me last Friday. He calls me every Friday night. He was calling me 5 times yesterday. He has called me twice this morning. He had called me 4 times by the time we went to their house. He is calling me now. He has been calling me every Friday. He had been calling me before I left for work. The first one, he called me last Friday. Gitawagan ko niya niadtong Biyernes. Most of the time, we will need more questions and more conversational understanding to know the correct way that this is being translated. Because gitawagan ko niadtong Biyernes can be he just called me last Friday night, or he's been calling me um, last Friday, or something that happened in the past and then continuing into the present, but unsure if it's going to continue into the future. But we do know it started and it's in the present time also. Gitawagan ko niatong Biyernes. He called me last Friday. He calls me every Friday night. So this is something that's presently happening and it will continue in the future. So he calls me every Friday night, which means the following Friday night he will call. Here the translation, we will use a future tense, motawag. Motawag siya. So you look for the clue here, cada viernes, every Friday. So this is an action that is continuing to happen and presently happening also. Motawag siya. He calls me. Motawag siya. Nako. Kada biyernes every Friday night. Kada biyernes sa gabi. He was calling me 5 times yesterday. Kalima na siya tawag nako kahapon. He has called me twice this morning. Kaduha na siya mitawag nako karong buntaga. He had called me 4 times by the time we went to their house. Upat nakahigayon na nga nanawag siya nako sa among pag-adto ilang balay. He is calling me now. Gitawagan ko niya karon. He has been calling me every Friday. Kada biyernes nanawag siya nako. He had been calling me before I left for work. Nanawag na siya nako sa wala pa ko mularga sa trabaho. On some of these sentences, you can see like nanawag na siya. That's a clue that is continuing to happen or happened already. Nanawag na siya. He has already called me. So sometimes we will have to ask questions in addition to these what we are translating for the different ways to say he called me or he's calling me. We will explore more on the next following videos. Thank you.